Hi everyone, I'm Victoria with Punchpass,
Hello, I'm Claire with Punchpass.
and today we're here to talk about content with consent, um,
Hmm.
gathering gathering video and photos and things that you might want to share and post on social media or on your website. Basically, online content that you're gathering, maybe of students of your studio, because gosh, you just need something to post and you want to show off, your cool student body and what customers are doing and what the look and feel is of your classes. And so gathering like actual video or photo evidence of what goes on is, really effective, or it might be really effective when it comes to social media. And luckily we have Claire here because she's a big part of our social media marketing from Punch Pass, and definitely has been in this world longer than I have, I think. So, Claire, I'd love to hear a little bit more about sort of how you feel about gathering that kind of content and what it can do for a studio.
Definitely. So, my background is having run a yoga studio. And the first thing I want to acknowledge is it's really hard. And I think that's why studio owners, gym owners, dance studio owners, it doesn't matter. It's not exclusive to yoga. You need that content. But realistically, what you want to take photos of is your people, your students, like Victoria was just saying. If I ran a cheese shop, I can post a different picture of cheese every day. Hey, we've got a new cheese. Look at this cheese, right? Like that's perfect content. Here's a busy day in the cheese shop. Here are all our cheeses. But when you run a yoga studio,
Best
you
content.
yeah, it's great content. When you run a yoga studio, your people are your cheese, right? But you need
Yeah,
permission from people, not from cheese.
right.
So
That's true.
I think when Instagram started, all the yoga teachers, and by default, I'm including, dance teachers, gym instructors, everybody in that collection,
Mm,
thought, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Look, I'm going to post these beautiful pictures of my class, what's going on, myself getting ready to teach, myself when I'm done teaching, my beautiful students, relaxing in Shavasana at the end of a yoga class. And we didn't give a lot of thought to the fact that those people really weren't giving permission for that. We just saw a beautiful image of these incredibly relaxed people lying down. And I'm sure there were some people that are a bit more emotionally ahead of the game that were like, this isn't right, and probably didn't get started with that. But most of us did, to be honest. And then at a certain point, we realized that's just not right. These people have come for a yoga class. They didn't give permission to be photographed, much less posted. And we talked about this in one of our other videos about other students videoing classes. The fact that if you ask people, they still might say yes, even if they don't mean it. So if you've taken a photo of 20 beautiful students in a dance class and you ask them all afterwards, oh my God, what a great class. Are you guys happy for me to post that on social? 15 people put their hands up and say yes, the other five don't say anything. They're going to probably just agree. Um,
yeah.
so that's really, really tricky. But what else are you going to take photos of? That's actually a really good
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's a couple ways like to handle this. I can speak from personal experience at our studio because we do talk about this a lot and it comes up, work at a dance studio. And one thing is like having a specific photo day where you like, hey, everyone, like, you're getting photographed. You're agreeing to get photographed because we're
Yeah,
updating the website photos, or we're taking some fun videos, doing some kind of trend for TikTok. And we're going to organize that and do a video together. And hey, wear XYZ, feel comfortable, maybe put on a little makeup, or I don't know, like do your hair if you want. Again, whatever is going to make you feel comfortable getting filmed for promotional purposes, because I think
yeah,
that's also the other thing is like one thing. I mean, it feels a little different if you're an instructor and you're like, hey, if I could I take a photo with you all, this was a really cool workshop, and we get a photo and we post it to a personal Instagram account versus here's the studio marketing website or here's the
right,
studio account. It kind of gets into this place of, I mean, was it for fun and I'm so proud of this life leading, or is it like, please come take our yoga class, dance
right.
class. And I think if you can upfront say, here's what we're using, here's what we're doing, and kind of let people know ahead of time, that would
Yeah,
probably be better. I mean, it's maybe a lot because you're probably going to want to do these pretty regularly, but I think it's probably the best way to give people the heads up and they feel comfortable and they're like, yes, I am signing up for that particular thing, not just I signed up for a yoga class and all of a sudden I'm, front and center on a like highlighted reel on their
right.
Instagram account. Yeah.
We had great success doing that actually. We probably did that a couple of times over the 8 years that
Yeah.
I owned the studio. And you can get a lot of good stuff out of, I think we ran maybe 2 classes back to back with different instructors and a different focus, and we had someone filming them, so sometimes you would repeat things so they could get good angles. I think we hooked people up with some free passes or whatever we did. You want to make it a win-win,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is really good. And yeah, we were really upfront, you're going to get filmed, but we do want all kinds of people. Like, I think there's a tendency when you say we're going to get filmed for maybe the most yoga people to think that, you're trying to make a perfect yoga class, and it's like, no, we want to see
Yeah.
everybody. And we use that
Yeah.
opportunity too, because you will generally get your regulars and the people that love your studio are the ones that are going to sign up. So we did some little pieces to camera, what do you love about the
Mm.
studio? Just little, really quick things that then we could chew up and make into content, put on the website. And then we did that with a photographer at a different time too. And if you've got, 50 photos, really beautiful, even if they're like someone's hand or a candle or, like, it's like, that's content for a while.
Yeah.
That's pretty evergreen. That's going to keep you going for maybe a year in between other, day to day
Mm.
posts that are not of your students. Yeah, we found that
Yeah.
worked really well. I think that's a really great idea. It does let people opt in with no sort of feeling that they're getting coerced into opting in.
Right. And I think you could also ask people like, I liked what you mentioned, like, what does the studio mean to you? You could ask people,
Yep.
hey, could you film yourself? You don't have to be in the studio talking about what you like about the studio and send it to
Right.
us. So people have total control of, hey, I filmed this content for you. And you're
Yep.
just, you're the, posting it. And I, was like, yep, that's what I want this to be for. And I'm, again, getting that consent is pretty key, but that would be a great way to kind of be like, I want my students, I want them promoting my studio, and they're comfortable with it, they're signing up for that.
Yep. And I think the other thing is, on the side of that is, as a nervous person, I want to see boring photos of your studio on your feed. I want to see what it looks like when I walk through the door. I want to see where the mats are. I want to
Mm.
see where, not where the exits are. I'm not that nervous. No disrespect to anyone that might be. Like, I don't need that
Yeah.
level of information. But I would love to see a photo of the front door or the studio itself. Like, I think a lot of places don't realize how powerful that can be. If I'm going to spend an hour, hour and a half in a place trying a new yoga class, I'd love to know what that looks like ahead of time. So don't
Mm.
think that's too boring to post. I think things like that are amazing.
Yeah. I think that's really cool. I also think, just as on another side note, but I think it's relevant. I think if someone is nervous like you or like anxious and maybe is, oh, I'm going to check out the studio for the first time, if the whole like studio feed on their Instagram account is like what looks like regular videos from inside a class, I might
Mhm.
assume that all classes get like filmed, or like
Absolutely.
people are
Yeah.
taking a bunch of videos in class all the time, and that might make me
Yeah.
more nervous. So if it's kind of an obvious, hey, we clearly had a photo shoot, but that's what
Right.
that looks like, maybe that would alleviate some of that fear that they might be walking into a place and being like, immediately, you're the star.
Yeah. Or you can
Yeah.
overshare too. If you do post a photo of, 5 people after class, you could put in the caption, these are my friends. They gave permission for me to post this photo. Something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you can overdo those type of disclaimers these days. I think that people really are looking for that transparency. And yeah, it's really easy to lose clients, I think. Like, if they do feel nervous about being filmed, that's a genuine fear for a lot of people these days. So you really do need to mitigate
Definitely.
that
Yeah. So upfront, getting consent,
for content.
maybe getting some other content.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks, guys.